background too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's the first episode of 2026 of your favorite podcast, Keepin in Rio. We got a whole new background going on here. We got all kinds of new things coming up in the future. And this today is episode 245. And ladies and gentlemen, I am fired up for episode 245. As soon as my guest gave me the yes and said he would be on, my immediate response was, hell yeah. So let's welcome to the show, everybody, our friend, Mr. Jamie Hale. Welcome to Keepin It Rio, my man. How's it going today?
It's good, man. Hell yeah. Glad to be here.
We've been having fun trying to get the connections all figured out and everything. And look at it. We ended up in a perfect scenario. Everything's going to work out just fine. So I appreciate you taking the time to be here and all the effort behind the scenes that just went on. Believe me, folks, this man definitely went through a couple things to get here for us today. So I appreciate it, Jamie. Why don't we start just right out of the gate, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself. We just met the other day over at RoofCon, and you guys were definitely showing out there at the event. Easy to spot in a crowd because of the neon. I love that. That's kind of one of those things that I think is just awesome, is when someone's willing to wear like something really bright and get some visibility. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and we'll kind of dig into the roofing side of things as well. But let's learn a little bit about the man here before we get deep into the industry stuff.
Well, I appreciate it, Chuck. Yeah, it's living a life of a roofer is never a dull moment. So trying to get everything together for the podcast is the same. So so I grew up here in Fort Worth, Texas. My wife Laura and I, we've been together 12 and going on 13 years now. We have, I have 2 daughters. She has 2 daughters and a boy, and then we have 7 grandchildren.
Nice.
So yeah, they keep us busy. Sometimes we find time to do everything, roofing and the grandkids and everything. So we're pretty much empty nesters. My background is pretty much in the customer service sales industry throughout my whole life. Sales with the railroad department, sales in the oil field, from waiting tables, bartending. So being around people has always been something that I've loved. And that's my strong suit, is customer service. So that's something that, it took me 40 years to figure out that my last name works for me. So you didn't know the meaning of it until I kept telling my wife and everybody, hell yeah. And she was like, that's it. So she's the beauty and the brains behind hell yeah. She, she's in the back of the scenes with everything, but we're going to get her out in front of the scenes in 2026.
All right.
We're bringing a new level into the game in 2026. So gonna push her out there and get her out there, get her face out there and stuff like that. And she brings a unique, I'd say, set of skills and trades to Hale Yeah Roofing that most people don't know, and probably would scare the shit out of most. She's a beast. She's a savage when it comes to the other side of business. Her background is corporate. So she, numbers, recruiting and stuff like that. Her background in marketing and stuff like she brings a different set of principles and everything standards to the roofing industry that most people don't know. So super excited to be able to have her a part of this and just what we're going to do in 2026.
Yeah, man, I love it. And I think that's awesome to have different types of characteristics to come into the industry. If everybody's doing the same thing and everybody's got the same background, it's kind of boring, right? And you've got to be able to differentiate yourself. So let's talk a little bit about Hale Yeah Roofing. You just said it took 40 years before you realized what your name really could get for you. So obviously you didn't start off as a kid dreaming to be a roofer, dreaming to own a roofing company. I don't know too many people that have, but we all have a tendency to find our way into this deal. Tell me a little bit about how you found your way into the roofing industry, and then we'll really expand upon what 2026 is going to show for us.
So I found myself in the roofing industry by my mentor, David, at DNR Roofing. old school cat. Got a lot of respect for him. He's the one that kind of really showed me the game. He showed me the ropes. Basically, it was like, you want to go knock doors, get the hell out of the truck and go knock doors. Here's some cards. And yeah, sink or swim. And you just learn from it, you know? So that really kind of was my initial push several years ago. But I've always been approached in roofing sales. I just never would do it because of my mindset. And I didn't understand the mindset thing of commission. I actually did B2B a long time ago, and I failed drastically at B2B. It was all scripted. You had to learn the script. You had to go business to business. We did Texas Ranger tickets for the Texas Rangers. So we had to go all the way around Arlington, everywhere to sell these booklets of tickets. I thought the shit was a scam. We'd go out in there at different cities and stuff like that. And then I did golf course marketing. I thought that was a scam. So everything that I had been introduced to, I thought was a scam. And so having that mindset of going into a commission-based level from earning a paycheck day to day and getting a check weekly, that was my mind. That's what society teaches you. They teach you that shit. That you got to pay your bills. If you want money, then you got to do this. You got to do that. And it's like you stay stuck in that frame for so long that you got to go to 9 to 5 jobs. You got to work that job. You got to get overtime. If you want to get some more money, so you got to get that overtime. And that was my biggest, pretty much my biggest bottleneck throughout my whole life, is being conformed to what society said I had to do. And that's why I like what roofing has to offer. It's the entrepreneurial spirit, the whole mindset, the whole personal development. You could make this shit really, you could go as far as you want to, you know what I mean? And you can put so much into it as much as you want to. I believe this is, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. And you can go to all levels with it.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that's inspiring right there. And it's so true. I tell everybody, we're more of a personal development type brand that just happens to do roofing. And 100%. Roofing is an awesome vehicle to be able to use to, you know, spread that positivity and growth mindset to a lot of people. I love when you bring someone in and they don't feel like they're going to be able to do something, or they say, a great example, Jamie, we were at RoofCon the other day. I brought my project manager, Francisco, with us, and Chris Hale, my partner. We rode up there to Oklahoma City. Francisco has been in the industry 35 years. He was an installer this entire time, had never been exposed to anything on the other side of the industry. And I wanted to take him to IRE when it was here in San Antonio last year. And at the last second, I think he just kind of was like, you know, I don't belong. And he kind of, you know, went and did something else that day and didn't make it. But he went to this thing, and so many people there were like reaching out and just saying, hey, man, I see your work on social media. He doesn't realize I put it out there, but people are like, you know, you're the guy that does the chimney, the fabrications, and you're awesome. And you could literally see a complete change in this guy from the day we got there to the day we left. And it was the most awesome thing. And I thought to myself, this is what I love about our industry. Everybody that was there to better themselves. You didn't see anybody arguing. You didn't see anybody fighting. Everybody was there having a good time, chatting it up, helping people to, you know, maybe improve upon whatever it is that they're looking to get better at. And that's what I love about it. So you find this roofing industry, you know, you get dragged into it like all of us do. Yeah. Maybe you've tried to get out a time or two. I've tried to get out like 50 times, and it just drags you back in, but I wouldn't want it any other way. So you get into it, you start having a little bit of success. Now we come to the point where it's like, all right, time to make a decision. Is this going to be a permanent thing for you? Is this something you plan on doing forever? And now you're looking at starting your own company. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the transformation from getting in early roofing sales and having some success to starting your own thing, and you know, what it's been like from basically starting with no roofing experience to building a successful company. It's pretty awesome.
You know, most roofers would probably say they would rather just go back being a sales guy, because you don't have no responsibility.
I'll be honest. I miss those days.
You don't have the headache, the stress, the fuck everything. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm 40 now. I mean, so I'm in it for the long haul. This is what I'm going to do. And then if I build this thing up and scale it, you know, hell yeah, that's what our aim is to do. But I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it to build a culture, to build team, to build across the state of Texas and even outside of the state of Texas is our goal. So, and with that comes longevity. It comes with time. You're not just going to get there overnight and say, shit, I wake up the next day and here we are. Now we're out at multiple states. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. To build a profitable, scalable, decent company with referrals, with great customers, delivering great products, delivering great sales systems, and having that day in and day out culture where guys are grinding, and there's just so much involved in it. But I was committed to that, and I knew I needed a piece of the puzzle before we got started with Hale Yeah Roofing. And Three Kings, I went to Three Kings Roofing and sold for them a little while, and they gave Dustin Cates over there gave me that opportunity. And then when I left there, I knew that was the other piece of the puzzle that I needed. Now, should I have known more information and more shit? Yeah, sure. But how I was trained in selling roofs, it was like either be a or be a tadpole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, someone kicks you in the ass and says, "Get out there and do it." It's like, all right, that was pretty good training. It's 100%. Either you're going to do it or you're not, right?
Exactly. So that was the mindset that I had, and I was like, "This shit's got to work." You know what I mean? It has to work. There's no other way. It can't fail. It has to work. This is how I'm going to eat. This is how I'm going to live. And this is my daily habit. So, and with that mindset going forward, I made that shit work. I'm going to make it happen and continually to go to that next level. Because I believe, it's standard just to be able to get under a weight bench and put weight on it. That's the standard. But to raise the bar, you got to go to that next level. You know what I mean? And you got to come down and you got to do a full set. Well, I think that applies the same way in every area of our life, because if you just go standard, what does that say about you?
Yeah, you're basic. You're willing to blend in with the crowd.
That's right. So with the name Hale Yeah, with the neon colors, it had to match my energy and who I am as a person, as a human being. I mean, you can ask my wife. I probably run her ass ragged because she's like, you don't ever stop. There's no ceiling. You know what I mean? But that energy is that I put that energy out there because of that energy. I feel I have to have that energy and that grit, that mindset, that motivation, because I'm looking for leaders like that to be able to develop into that, to match that energy with, because in this industry, it's tough. And it's not built for your average person. I mean, knocking doors, and that's all we do is knock doors. I don't do any referral systems or anything else. I believe in you eat what you kill.
That's pretty hardcore right there. I'm not going to lie. And I respect the hell out of that, because I can't go out there and do it every day like that. I've got too much of an ego. I don't like when old ladies slam the door, tell me get the hell off their property and all that. And I got some stories from my door knocking days, but I think that's awesome. So you get in, you realize you see what's possible through going and working with another company, Three Kings, and I'm familiar with them. They're here in Texas, pretty big company. And you can kind of see what it looks like when it's scaled to a certain level. And you think, all right, that looks like fun. So you jump out, you start your own thing. And this is my favorite part of the journey, because now it's like, all right, we're going to start this. It's going to be called Hale Yeah. We got a cool logo. It's going to be like bright. Everything's cool, energetic. Nobody knows who we are yet. So you got to go out here, and I don't even call it arguably. I think it's the toughest market in the United States, 100%. Especially for door-to-door roofing.
It is.
You've got to stand out from the crowd, which you do a great job. We see you at the event, and it's like, oh, check it out. You can see the aura from the letters on the jackets from like a mile away. But to a homeowner that's never seen or heard from you, that you're coming up to talk to for the first time, what's this like as a first-time roofing company owner who now realizes it's up to me. Whatever I get done here is what we're going to get for the day. And we're either eating bologna or steaks, and it's completely on me to do it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And as an owner and as an owner operator, somebody who's doing this day in and day out, like It was just me and my wife for the first year of Hale Yeah Roofing. I believe you have to in differentiating yourself between the competition, because I looked at it as I've been competing with the competition in this market for 3 years. This is probably, like you said, this is one of the toughest markets in the United States to be able to compete in the door-to-door industry with roofing. The saturation, the competitors, the bad rap, the contractors. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. But I believe as an owner and as a leader, I believe you've got to be able to tailor to what it is that you offer, and that's what value do you bring to the homeowner. And I feel like that right there is a core principle that we live by, is the value that we instill with the homeowner as a company, and that customer service, serving them from the moment that we knock on that door till the last time that we see them and get a referral off of them, and then pass that referral. So I think it's multiple stages that you have to just keep serving, because I believe, especially whenever in storm season, when a customer's house gets rocked and then the windows get blowed out, the roof gets tore up, everything on their property and their investment has just been taken by an act of nature, and they're left, vulnerable. So I believe you've got to show up with a servant's mentality and mindset to be able to, and then also create the value and how you're going to protect their home and give back to them. I feel like that has to be the number one value. And that's what we offer at Hale Yeah Roofing.
Yeah, I love that. And, at the end of the day, Jamie, this is what I always tell people when I do sales training. It's not so much the product that you're putting on the roof. It's not the brand of the shingle. It's not the way that they're doing it. It's not even the components that separate the roofs, because nowadays, if you're using 15-pound felt still, you stand out like a sore thumb. Everybody's doing the stuff that we're doing to improve the image of the industry and to make the products better. So now it really just comes down to the person and being able to earn that trust, earn that respect, and have them realize, okay, yeah, I'm willing to work with this guy. I'm willing to put everything that I've got here, my biggest investment in life in most cases, and I'm willing to trust this guy. So this is my favorite first time question again. You start the company, you're out there, you realize, all right, it's time to go. You've had success in the past, but it's completely different when it's your own success. I know this for a fact. Yeah. Tell me about the first time you hit a door, you got you nailed the presentation as Hale Yeah. Everything went perfect. You weren't even thinking about anything other than serving that homeowner, and you got that first deal as a business owner. What was it like?
Well,
oh man, you're supposed to be doing cartwheels right now. What's up?
No, it was.
I got a video later, but you bring the heat.
The first one, whenever we kicked it off with Hale Yeah Roofing, I didn't have signs. I don't even think I had cards yet. I didn't even have a truck wrap. So when in 2025, the hail season popped off in Johnson County in March. And it started from Glen Rose all the way into Cleburne and then moved into Mansfield and out. So I went to go knock doors immediately there. And I started to, and that was kind of like a couple month journey due to the mortgage companies. So, I mean, but it felt, the feeling felt badass that I got to introduce myself. Hey, I'm Jamie Hale. I'm the owner of Hale Yeah Roofing. I don't have to introduce another company. The process it was really shorter. You know what I mean? There wasn't that objection. Okay. They're like, oh, okay, you're the owner. Okay, perfect. You know what I mean? I didn't have that rebuttalness going on there when I did that introduction like that. But I would have to say on everything else, from the claim filing, and I was already used to doing everything cradle to grave at the other company I was at DNR Roofing. So it wasn't really anything different. But what was different was, oh shit, I need cards. Oh shit, I need yard signs. Oh shit, I need a truck wrap. I need to find a way to have these homeowners identify me and not just be some average Joe Blow in a truck and ladder with no credentials in who you are. Anybody could say anything at your door. You know what I mean?
Especially here in Texas. And I got to say this. Thank you for what you just said, Joe Blow. Everybody's always like chucking a truck, and I'm over here like, dude, I don't even have a truck. Stop. So you actually have helped me to shake that that little nickname right there, and I appreciate that. We're gonna call it Joe Blow from now on.
Call it Joe Blow. I mean, yeah, jump
I
low.
love it. So you get out there, you're getting success, you're getting the roofs together. Obviously, I think the biggest fact of what you've already mentioned that is the most important factor is having your wife who has a background in finance and understands how those numbers need to go. Because us as roofers and just as guys in general, sometimes we don't think like that, and we just kind of are like, oh my god, I sold a
We're
roof
just like,
20 grand, baby.
yeah,
And things can go off the rails pretty quick. So having that
100%.
in place, I think, is very crucial when you're starting a company, because right now, the way that things are going, and 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, it was a little bit different. It was easier to get paid and it was quicker. So
Sure.
as you get into now where you're filing the claims, you're running everything through, you're doing supplements, I'm assuming, and taking care of all of that.
Yes.
Did this process shock you as far as how long it took and how drawn out it could be? And what did the cash flow look like for you as you're getting started? Was this ever a major concern for you as a new owner?
So, yeah, so I'll break it up into two parts. Yeah, so having her on the back end and able to help with that was crucial. Because you're right, we just see like a red blanket held up and we're a bull in a china cabinet, and and that was my mentality, because I had to just get out there and sell, and it was storm season, so I was like, okay, it's all or nothing. But having her to be able to, in the background, to orchestrate and organize all of that was very critical for us. And it also helped us to be able to identify where our strengths, our weaknesses are, where bottlenecks are, and stuff like that. Because as a company, you need to know that. So having her back there, she's done so much that a lot of people don't see on the back end, and a lot of people don't see the shit that's done on the back end as an owner and as a company, because it's a little bit more than just what people see on the internet or on Facebook on completion. There's so much that's entailed in going to get up to that part. And I think that's very critical for people to understand, because I think what makes a company and who they are and where they're going, I believe all of those details matter. And those details do matter. And it makes up, into the person, to the company that they are. And then the second part of the question, it was, what was it? It was
cash flow problems, having concerns about being able to make it. And
So, yeah.
was the process more drawn out and harder than what you initially thought it was going to be, which is the case for most people?
So yeah, most people are hung up by the cash flow mindset, but my mindset was this. It was like, I have to go out here and I have to just eat what I kill, and I have to just keep going. You know what I mean? I could not stop. So my cash flow that we started off is that I had like 4 or 5 roofs out in Midland and Odessa that I sold in the wintertime. I flipped those, and those are what allowed us to be able to migrate into the first of the year and have some expenses to get truck wrap and stuff like that, and get us to where we were door knocking and selling. So we basically used those roofs out there, use that cash flow for that. And then I would just keep knocking doors and keep selling. So I would always make it a habit to pay all of my vendors and my suppliers. Of course, we weren't set up to have credit accounts yet or anything else like that.
Yeah, it's tough at first.
It's tough at first, because it's literally it's COD, cash on delivery. But that's a really good mindset to have, because it allows you not to get in debt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it was very imperative for me to make sure that all of my suppliers, all of my people were paid, and I was current, up to date on that, because I didn't want to have to owe anybody any money, and I didn't want to have to pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 bill at one time. So when I got a roof, I paid my supplier COD, and I just kept that mentality all the way throughout the whole year, until we were able to get to the point of getting credit with ABC, Beacon, and stuff like that. And it was a work over a period of time. But having the cash flow, it just built up. The capital built up. I didn't have to take out any loans. We didn't have to do any of that, because I believe in, you have to go out there and get it if you want it bad enough. And that was my mindset.
Yeah, man, and that's way harder than what you just made it sound like.
I
And that's
know.
where 95% of the people die at the door, right? Yeah, people are like, what the hell? That's what I got to do. I'm not in the mood for all that. And I see so many people. I used to run a roofing supply company, and I watched it over and over and over again. And it's like, dude, you have to be careful. You can't get that new truck yet. You can't get this. You better pay your bill. And then all of a sudden, you're just kind of dead because there's nothing there. And your truck's awesome, but it's going to look really cool on the back of a rollback here in about 2 months. So I think having that mentality and being able to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this a cash flowing business that's going to continue to be profitable. We're not going to overspend. We're not going to outkick our coverage. And again, I think having a small company with small overhead and having two different types of personality that can go out there and knock on doors and be the personality and the face of the public, and then have that back operation stuff as well that can really, lock everything in place and make sure you're good. So you get through that initial phase, rocking and rolling. Now, my man, it's time to start thinking about the future, right? You don't want to just be a one-man show the rest of your game. You just told me you want to grow something that's going to go across multi-states. Who knows what it's going to ultimately end up being, but as a one-man operation, husband and wife team, you got to start building. You got to start finding people that you can add into your positions that you can, scale the company with. What's the first person that you start looking for? Is it sales? Is it someone that can maybe help a little bit with that back end stuff? Someone that answers the phones and kind of takes some of those tasks? What's that first person look like that you guys bring into what's soon to become the Hale Yeah Super Team?
So I'm a firm believer, and I love Dan Martell's "Buy Back Your Time." And I think for us, it was a project manager, and that's where it was with a project manager. I had to bring somebody on to manage all of my jobs. I mean, I was doing 3-4 roofs installs a week this summer, spread across the state of Texas, Lubbock, Austin, DFW. I mean, we were all over the place. I mean, and we killed it. And we were able to help rebuild the communities, and we did it with no complaints. You know what I mean? So project management was the first person that we started with in hiring a project manager and having somebody learn that system and be that other hat that I need to let go as a leader, because I can't do it all. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, trust me. That's exactly what I did. We hired a project manager first thing, and it's like,
First
okay.
thing off the rip, we need a project manager.
And now tomorrow, Chris and I are taking our homeowner golfing while our project manager oversees the roofing project. And that is the ultimate win for everybody. So
that's right.
Yeah, you get that person in there that is going to go out there, represent your company with pride, is going to make sure that everything is being done to the highest standards. And it's going to take a lot of time and give it right back to you, like you said, because you're not out there doing all that stuff. You find that right person, and now, okay, we've got that person in place. Now we can probably even start thinking about doing more jobs. Instead of 3 or 4 a week, we can start doing 8 to 10, because now I don't have to oversee everything. So, okay, what do we do as far as generating more opportunities? Obviously, I think sales would be the next thing. Have you looked into bringing salespeople in? If so, how many have you done?
So yeah, this is something that we kind of looked into. We were partnered and circled with the door-to-door experts who've built out our university. So that was our next step.
Nice.
Was getting a university, a sales training platform for whenever we do decide to start recruiting, because we need to be able to streamline it. I can't be everywhere and sell and also teach everybody at the same time. So we needed something that was sufficient, systems and processes in place and stuff like that. So that was our next step. So I had met Sam Taggart at Win the Storm. I've known the guy for a while, and I told my wife, we were at the after party and met Sam Taggart outside. And next thing you know, I told my wife, well, get ready. We're going to be on a plane to Salt Lake City, Utah. And she's like, what? So we fly up to Salt Lake City, Utah to do the business boot camp. We got up to the business boot camp, and I believe everything happens for a reason, and it's all by design. Because at that time, we didn't have our mission statement. We didn't have our core values filled out. We didn't have any of that. We didn't know what that looked like. We just didn't stop long enough I haven't been able to stop long enough to do that. Let me reframe that. When we got up there to Sam Taggart's place at the Hive at Door to Door Experts, and we were able to do that business boot camp to finally sit down and kind of etch them out and get a inside look of who we want to become as a company and what we want to do. And I think you have to start there. And that's where we needed to start there before we could ever get into hiring anybody. And so we did that. And then they have a program which is Recruitomatic, and they do all the recruiting for you and everything else. And we looked at the Indeed recruiting. It's pretty pricey to be able to recruit off of Indeed. I think it's like $400 to $500 a week or something like that.
And it's random. I mean, you get all kinds of different people that don't even know what you're calling for. And I've hired a few guys off Indeed and I've had success with it, but it's not my favorite.
I haven't, and I really, wasn't really pushing a needle to hire just yet, because I wanted to make sure I have the systems and process in place. I want to make sure we have the university. I want to make sure we have those things in place in our direction going forward. So I wasn't really pushing that needle. Then we had attended a couple deep dives in our circle members, and there was something that I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about recruiting. I went on the podcast with Jay Miller at Miller Storm Roofing. Love Jay Miller.
He's awesome.
Jay. What up, Jay? Thanks. He told me, he said, man, you need to find 2 people and duplicate yourself. My coach, Sam Taggart, said the same thing to me. He said, you need to find 2 people. He goes, I'm going to give you a goal. By the time it hits door to door con, I want you to hire 2 people, and I want you to start duplicating yourself. So that was in my mind to be able to hire 2 people. And I knew I didn't want to hire somebody from another sales company, from another roofing company.
Yep.
I don't want somebody else's trash, somebody else's garbage. No disrespect to anybody in the industry. I love, all the relationships.
I know exactly what you're saying, though. Yes, I get it.
I'm sorry. What I'm building I just don't have time for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time to get into arguing about commission structures. I don't have time to worry about lead babies, and I don't have time to worry about people that they want this and they want that, and they don't want to go out and sell bullshit. I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? I want to operate as a lethal force in this industry. I'm coming in. We have something to bring to homeowners in the industry, and we have a vision in mind. And so I was like, we're going to organically recruit. So we started inward, and we started within our relationships and the people that we know and the people that know us. And so we've organically recruited. Now we have 14 sales members enrolled in our university now for Hale Yeah Roofing. Let's go.
14, dude. I was thinking you were going to say like 2. That's badass. Come on.
2 to 14. Drastically. Yeah, killed it. So, and that was the thing was getting it into the university and seeing, because as well as I do, this industry is a numbers game. And I tell these guys all the time, half of you guys probably are not going to make it.
Yep. And that's being generous.
It's being generous. It's a reality. If I want all 14 to make it 100%, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you guys make it. But if you fail, it's because you fail. And I tell them all the time, it ain't because of me. I've given you the tools. I'm giving you the structure. I'm giving you the systems. I'm giving you the processes. Second of all, and fifth, I'm giving you the wordplay and the training to get out there and to create something for yourself that I've learned. You know what I mean? So, and it's been rewarding. And seeing everybody crush it. That's the thing. We have one girl, Haley. She's kicked every dude's ass in there. She's the only girl in the sales university. Nobody has any door knocking experience in our sales force. They don't even know what I mean? How to knock a door, what a conversation is, sales at all. I've got introverts. I've got some extroverts in there. So it's knowing your culture. It's knowing the people that you hire, and everybody knows my story, where we came from, how we got here, and they've watched our journey. They've seen where I was at DNR Roofing, and then at Three Kings, and then now here at Hale Yeah, and they've watched this for the last year. So they've been inspired by it, and that's an honor. So that really, to me, is motivation for me to make sure they make it on a daily basis. So it's pretty badass to see everybody just kicking ass, and they got a goal at the end of this month to be finished with their pro certification by the end of. So onboarding is January 31st.
I love that. And man, I'll tell you what, it's so refreshing to talk to someone that actually had the foresight to say, we need to put a training university in place before we hire people. We need to do this before we hire people, and to have systems in place and have something tangible that you could actually say, look, this is a real thing. You can log in here and you can test and you can see it. It's so much better than just saying, hey, come on, I'll teach you how to do it. And, and you have to sell the dream. Basically, you've created something that now people can actually see and look at and say, all right, yeah, that's pretty legit. And congratulations on that, because I think that's where a lot of people are really lacking. And I think a lot of us sometimes overestimate our abilities to keep people engaged. And having that university is awesome, because you can track your people's status. You can see who's doing what. You can address situations if someone's, had to take the same test 15 times. It's like, well, maybe drawing a roof isn't going to be your thing. But being able to identify that, having a diverse group of people in there that are buying into the culture at an early stage is huge. So now let's talk about the other side of this. Okay. You were doing 3-4 roofs a week when it's Jamie out there knocking on doors. Hell yeah. You start bringing production in. You can double your production or better, even still by yourself. But now you scale to 14 sales reps. Okay. And if every sales rep is selling one roof a week, you're in a different stratosphere now. So let's talk about the logistics of the production side of things. How do you scale that as you move forward with it? Because you didn't probably hire 14 project managers. So how does that progression look on that side of it?
So this is something that we're putting together, and I just had meetings with QXO, ABC. We're also now certified IKO Pro with IKO. So this year, and one of our commitments to our customers is to be able to make sure that process is streamlined and in tune, because in the long run, it helps us to help them give quality products, quality service. And then also it helps us as a company to grow and scale. And going into 2026, that's very important for me on operation side, and having one project manager, because with 14 sales reps, that's a shit ton of work to do. And eventually I'm going to have to hire some more project managers, but it's a lot. So I want to be able to minimize his workload as much as possible. So I'm going to do everything on my end to make sure it's minimal. We're going to try out the one supplier, one product this year with all of our reps. And we've been offering a phenomenal product all year long. I haven't had any leaks. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any complaints on the product that we deliver. And we toured the facility with IKO, and I think it's an exceptionally great. Now, depending on margins and stuff like that, this is where it's going to get in. So negotiating rates with our suppliers. And we're in the midst of doing that with QXO and ABC right now. So we're trying to find out which one's going to be best for us as a company going forward. But I feel like our reps can have a little bit more confidence in knowing that they don't have to learn a whole shit ton in the very beginning, since they don't know the industry. And then we can start talking about later on in a year or something, some specialty roofs, you know what I mean? Some presidential shingles, some stone coated steel. I think there comes a place of time for that, because I believe not everybody's going to operate like I do, and not everybody's going to learn like I do at my capacity. So there may be some guys that are in there that can learn fast and learn products really fast. And I think product knowledge is going to be really big, and it is really big in the sales process, because without the product knowledge, I'm sorry, you have no business doing selling in the industry. So, and I think I think tailoring it to the rep and making sure that they're and the project manager, that smooth transition and that handoff is without error. With the CRM into the project manager, because I tell my reps, what the project manager picks up from you is either going to be a pile of shit or it's going to be gold. Because if you want to get paid on it, if your process is not seamless, his process is painful. And his process is painful, then you're going to hear from him 5,000 times. And you don't want to hear from your project manager 5,000 times. So if you want to get paid on this, your process has to be seamless so he can build a seamless product and then deliver it to the homeowner and have a seamless review and referral on the back end. And then everybody gets paid and go to the next one. It's kind of how I've kind of organized it. So yeah, the project doing that is what we're targeting for 26. I don't know. It may bust, it may work, it may fail.
No, it's going to work. And I'll tell you, I have the same mentality with it, right? And I tell homeowners all the time, look, why do people pick their favorite roofing shingles? I can't even begin to understand a lot of it, but a lot of it's based on back end rebate numbers and things like that. If we're being completely transparent. And I say to folks, you know, a shingle is basically a piece of fiberglass. It's dipped in some asphalt and they sprinkle these little rocks on it to make it look cool. Some of them have a couple different parts and they look nice. And they're all about the same, right? It's about the people and it's about the vibe that you get with your contractor more than anything. So I think taking that out of the equation and saying, okay, guys, we're working with one supplier, we're working with one product. We're going to be, you know, in here. It can really help them to kind of boost their confidence and get more reps without having to think so much about that and saying, okay, it's more about me. People are buying me. You know, we love Hale Yeah, we love IKO, we love all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if they think you're a prick, they're probably not going to buy from you, even if you've got the best of the best. So you focus on that. And I think in the end, that's going to end up being the strategy that's going to propel you into the next phase of the company. And here's where the next phase of the company in my mind goes. And I want to get your take on this. So you guys are obviously outdoor knocking in a market that is primarily hail, obviously. And you've got the name for Hale Yeah. But as things are starting to change a little bit here with the insurance, we're starting to see different coverages, higher deductibles, lower payouts. Everything's starting to get a little bit more, dare I say, retail oriented because people get a percentage of it paid and it's not going to be the same. So how do you plan for that transition with your new sales team? Is this something that you're kind of starting with right now, forecasting, saying, hey, look, we could go out and sell claims right now. Everything's going good, but we need to be aware of where this is heading. And since all these guys have no experience, I feel like this is probably a perfect time to start with it. So what's your thoughts on that as far as retail versus insurance? What's it going to look like for you moving forward if everything works out the way that you envision?
I think retail, by far, I love retail more than I do insurance. Insurance is just a golden ticket. You know, here, it's a plus.
It's there, yeah.
I love the psychology of the retail. If you look at the sales structure in retail selling and you break it down in how to sell a retail roof versus an insurance, by far, that psychology of the retail sale is phenomenally top tier for me. I love how to be able to, to orchestrate it, to present it to the homeowners. You've got to sell your ass off. You've got to sell it. You've got to you've got to put that big ribbon on it. And let's be real. You've got to get a customer to come out of pocket with $25,000. Let's just say 25. That's a standard roof. We're not talking about something that 10 and 12 with 22 valleys in it that's all cut up in 198 squares. Now we're talking bigger numbers here. We're talking just an average roof, $17,000, $20,000 roof. Your day and age people do not have that. So as a company, you've got to really streamline your financing options. You've got to streamline your retail training. The insurance tip on the iceberg. Yeah, sure. We go out and we chase hailstorms and we help rebuild communities and lives through insurance and being a stellar contractor company. But whenever that dries up or whenever those RPSs, ACV policies, when those are now in everybody's reality in the state of Texas, 2% deductibles, 3% deductibles, 5% deductibles, what do you do? So we're going to train, and we in our training we have retail training. to and where it absolutely crosses that board automatically at the very beginning. So they're not, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? It's a reality, and it's get it on your radar, because this is a reality in this market, and not everything's going to be a golden spoon. You may have to upsell. You may have to bring in some financing. You may have to wait a little bit longer. You know what I mean? There's so much things that are changing in the industry in the last several years, that so allowing our sales reps to be acknowledgeable of that and to be aware of that by far is what we are instilling in our reps today. So that way, when they do hit the streets, they're already aware of it. They're already trained up on it. Because the last thing we want is one of our professionals to go out into the neighborhood and not be equipped with the tools to be able to deliver.
Yep. It's a dangerous game right now. And I think there's still people that are playing the old way. And it's like, I don't know. So I love everything that you're saying, man. You've built this thing up. You're ready for success, 26 and beyond. What's the ultimate goal for Hale Yeah? I know at the beginning of this, you talked about building something up that would have some value. Are you looking at somewhere down the road potentially saying, hey, man, 40 to 50, I'm willing to basically put everything I've got into this. If I can build something up that someone is willing to give me hundreds of millions of dollars for, I'd walk away? Or is this going to be your deal for the rest of your life? And it's going to be like Jamie on his final days is still out there screaming, hell yeah, baby. What's it going to be like for you?
Well, if you ask my wife this question, she'd be like, yeah, if it gets built up and scaled out, yeah, you offer me some dollar signs, she's gonna take it.
Well, she's the smart one of the group, so I get that. We're the emotional ones.
We're the emotional ones. We're the one that's driven. Man, this is my passion. You know, I mean, I couldn't say. I mean, because I'm just curious I want to see how to build this culture up with 14 reps and look and see how far longevity goes with it and become a results roofing, or you know what I mean, some of these other linear roofing. What does that look like? You know what I mean? To have 100 reps, I couldn't even tell you what the hell that looks like. You know what I mean? And I think that's the beauty in this, because like I said earlier, the ceiling is so much, the sky is the limit with this. And I feel, and with the brand and what we're building in 2026 as an owner and as a leader and as a sales rep, something that I'm honing in on very strong. And we've had the multiple conversations. My wife and I had this conversation. We also had this conversation in our circle group, is signal to noise ratio. So the guy that Kevin O'Leary, that Shark Tank guy.
Yep.
So he did a podcast on with that Diary of a CEO guy. Okay, his podcast has taken off. Love that dude. He's phenomenal on what he does.
Second best podcast in the world, folks.
Dude, I love it. So they got on there, and he was starting to hash out the signal to noise ratio, and he goes into talking about Steve Jobs, what is his level of noise and what is his level of signal, and then he talks about Elon Musk. And he's like, Elon Musk has no noise. He's all signal. So I think as a leader and as a business owner and as a salesperson, I think in 2026, I think you really got to turn on those parameters and know and identify what is your signal and what is your noise. Because if you don't identify that and having that, I believe, just like if you lose internet connection and you're trying to connect to it or Bluetooth and the signal fades in and out and you're like, shit, I only got one bar, and you can't send something in a text, and then you try to go get on Wi-Fi somewhere and you're like, I need this to go through now.
Please, God.
I think that's how it has to be. I think for me in 2026, that's my mindset. And that's the thing that I'm going to adapt with our sales force and our team members and our leaders that we're building, is because with knowing that signal and that noise ratio, you can turn off that noise that's keeping you from selling. You can turn off that noise, you know what I mean, from being able to give great leadership to somebody that's below you, or somebody in the community and serving somebody, or your family, your spouses, your kids. You know, is it these phones, that noise will come to family time, or giving back to the community. So I think identifying signal to noise ratio on all levels in 2026, I think is very huge. And I just, I don't know what it's going to look like in 10 years. I couldn't tell you right now. I might have a different opinion in a couple of years, but right now,
You might have a different opinion in a couple hours. That's the way this works. It's like, shit, I want out. No, I love it. I want back in. I love it. I hate it. I want it in. I hate it. And I understand completely. It's part of the journey. And I think that's part of the best part of this whole experience is we can make of it whatever we want. We can have a positive attitude. We can go out and have a lot of fun. And this brings me to the last little segment of our podcast here, Jamie. You and I met the other day over at RoofCon. Yeah. And I was there with my guys. I had Chris Hale. And honestly, Chris is the half owner of Rio Blanco with me. I thought you guys were cousins for like 6 months, dude. I had no idea. And one day I was like, tell me about your cousin, Jamie. He's like, dude, that's not my cousin. Like, we just have the same name. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. So yeah. we saw you at RoofCon the other day. And I couldn't help but notice, man, you're having a blast. You guys were just like energized. You had the neon going on. I could see you going all over the place. But there was something that happened at RoofCon that I think is going to be monumental in the history of Hale Yeah Roofing, possibly in your life as well. And that is very quite simply put, you have put something out to the world and you're asking for a viral video. So let me ask you a little bit about what we've got going on here, Jamie. This is you at RoofCon the other day. Go ahead and set the stage for us a little bit. Tell us what we're about to witness when I hit the play button here.
It's Jamie Hale going at it.
He's having some fun. And our goal with this, it says, hell yeah, I want to make this let's go viral and boss moves. So I think there's nothing more boss than this. So ladies and gentlemen, it would certainly be a huge disservice to my guest and to all of the people watching if we didn't watch these moves right here, because I do believe the industry has a new dance king. So you ready, my friend? Here we are, Jamie Hale, Hale Yeah Roofing, RoofCon 7 in Oklahoma City. This was the vibe that we had, folks.
Hell yeah.
Look at this guy. We'll go through it one more time.
Yeah. I'll talk about, man. Yeah.
All right. So there you have it, my friend. That was
let's go viral.
Awesome. Thank you for that, because I didn't even know that was the gift that you were giving at the time. And I saw that and was like, oh, dude, that's going on Keepin at Rio. So, Jamie, we're coming up on the hour, my friend. It's been a fast hour. I got to say this. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here with me. We had never really sat down and chatted before, and this has been so awesome. You're stuck with me now, like Jay Miller and all these other guys. I'm just going to keep following up with you. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help you, I'm here for you, my friend. Huge success in 2026 and beyond. It's an honor to share the industry with you. And if there's anybody watching this episode that's in our industry, maybe not, maybe they're in DFW and they think, man, roofing, I thought it sucked, but this guy looks pretty cool and he's got some dance moves. If nothing else, we could go over there and have a fun time. How can people follow you? What's a good way to get a hold of you or follow your progress and your story as you go forward? And if anybody wants to maybe reach out, what would be a good way to do that?
So Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, I'm on there under Jamie Hale or Hale Yeah Roofing. Or you can reach out to me at my phone number, 817-736-9505. But the best way to get a hold of me is through text or on Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook. Most of the time I'm on Facebook, but I'm trying to, turn that signal to noise ratio.
We all are.
I know a lot of people are going to be, really depressed this year whenever they don't see me out there a lot. But hey, I'm building something. So
that's it. And if you ever want your dose, just come back and watch this episode like 3,000 or 4,000 times this year. I will certainly appreciate it. My algorithm will as well. So, Jamie, thanks, bud. I appreciate you. I'd love to have you back sometime down the road, maybe another year or two into the company. And we'll look back at this and laugh and say, man, now that I got 75 employees, 14 seems kind of small. So kudos to you, my man. I appreciate it. Stick around just a second here after we end end the episode so you and I can finish our conversation. But before we do, I would almost be totally remiss in not saying I need to give a huge shout out to my sponsors, roofer.com, ROOFR.com. Everybody hears me every week. I'm talking about how Roofer is the all-in-one for your roofing company, from the initial contact all the way to the final payment and follow-ups for years to come. So if you're not using Roofer, you should be. You know that. I've said it at least, this is my 4th year of sponsorship. I've said it at least 100 times. So Roofer, I appreciate you guys. Everybody that watches, thank you. And until next time, keep on keeping it real. We'll see y'all next Thursday.